If you'd like to make your NFL games a little more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Podcast presented by DraftKings, America's #1 rated sportsbook app. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL lineman, a bunch of podcasts. Ross Tucker Football Podcast is every day. We do a couple of fantasy feasts per week to make sure you're ready for both season-long, redraft, whatever you got, DFS, and of course, the College Draft Podcast. But I love the Even Money Podcast. I love giving out winners, and I love watching the games with an interest in mind and wanting to make sure my picks, my bets come through for all of you, the great listeners. Please follow me on all the different social media platforms at Ross Tucker NFL, including youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Please also follow the show handle at Ross Tucker Pod, and the star of this show, Steve Fezzik at Fezzik Sports, the only two-time winner of the Super Bowl of professional football gambling, the Super Contest at the Westgate Casino. And Steve, there's a lot to discuss right off the start of the show because, number one, I don't think I tagged you on Twitter yesterday. I did tag DraftKings Sportsbook, but as soon as I got to Buffalo last night and I saw how damp and dreary and wet and misty it was, I did not think we were going to have a shootout. I did not think we were hitting the over, and we certainly did not.
No, that totally changed the complexion of the game. That total dropped from 57.5 all the way to 55. So always check the weather report.
Very, 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 very important. And also, we rarely, Steve, have breaking news when we start to record the show. But how about the Miami Dolphins? They have a bye this week. But after back-to-back double-digit wins in the NFL, including blowing out the San Francisco 49ers, they're 3-3, and after the Bills lost last night to the Chiefs, a game out of first place in the AFC East, firmly in second place, they are going to Tua time. They are putting Ryan Fitzmagic down. That sounds bad. That sounds like an animal, putting him down. But they're putting him on the bench. They're putting Tua in. Very interesting timing and decision, Steve.
I can't understand why there's no love for Fitzmagic. I have him rated just around an average quarterback, starting quarterback in the NFL, just a little bit below that. Tua's a backup quarterback, and Fitzmagic, the way he plays, the way he sacrifices his body to move forward, the way he grows his blonde beard to be the same size as Thornton Oakenshields, I can't understand where's the love for Fitzmagic.
You know what? The weird thing is we all love him, but I think they just felt like with the bye week and with the team playing well, now is a good time to insert Tua in the lineup. But it's a tough sell for the veterans. If Tua doesn't play well, it's a tough sell because Fitz was playing very well. Very, very well. Really interesting. Really interesting. All right, so every week we do the same thing, Steve. We start by recapping what happened the week before. It's a good way for you to check us on our bets. It's a good way for us to check ourselves before we dive into the next week. Week 6 was not kind to us, Steve. I was down 3 units. You were down 4 units. We were 1-2 on our best bets, 2-1 on our teasers. The Cowboys just totally blew it last night. That was unbelievable, but not a great week. Bears, Panthers, we had nothing. Jags, Lions, you like the Lions. You like the Jags getting the 3.5 points. Steve, they're terrible. They are. I mean, they lost 34-16 to the Lions. The Jags are terrible. By the way, all of these lines and spreads, this whole segment is presented by DraftKings. I mean, any line we give out is a DraftKings Sportsbook app line, but these are what they were last week on Tuesday at noon when we place our bets. Jags did not come through. There's a 2-unit bet, and, man, they're just terrible now.
No doubt. 5 straight games they've given up 30 points, and with no defense, just a bad early week selection on that game.
We both leaned to the Vikings. Man, I'm glad we didn't actually put units on that one. They got smoked by the Falcons. Nothing on the Texans and the Titans. We went head-to-head. No, we did not go head-to-head. You leaned Washington. I put 2 units on the Giants last week. Wow, man. Just wow. I mean, unbelievable. I had it right. They won the game, but those 2.5 points cost me. Kyle Allen threw 2 beautiful touchdown passes. The last one I can't believe. Can't believe Daniel Jones, when they're up 13-10, throws that pick in the back of the end zone. That was a tough-to-swallow 2-unit loss by 1.5 there. Then you move on to the Browns and the Steelers. We had a best bet on the Browns. I had 1 unit on them. You had 2 units on them. They got slaughtered 38-7. I was nervous, hesitant about Baker Mayfield's injury. Should have gone with my gut. I mean, I would have otherwise taken them for 2 units, but my issues with him took it down to 1 unit, Steve. Should have gone to no units. He was terrible in that game. He's not playing well. Greg Cosell said it on last Thursday's Ross Tucker Football Podcast. They've almost been 4-2, Steve, despite him. He's not been great.
Yeah, and this is an example of I kind of poo-pooed the Baker injury early in the week, and the more I read later on the week against that matchup with that nasty Steeler pass rush, I completely flipped on the game. So recognize, hey, on Tuesday, I'm giving you who I like on Tuesday, but new information comes in. Look at a team like the Eagles and the injury reports and the like. Everything changes daily, like the stock market, in terms of valuations.
It really does. Next up was the Ravens and the Eagles, and that was actually the second leg of one of my 2-team teasers. By the way, I got some flack, Steve, from multiple listeners on social media that were upset that I did 3 teasers last week. The first thing I would say, and before I even dive into it, why do you think that is, Steve? Why do you think that upsets people?
Because people like things simple, and the teasers are a little bit more complicated, and I really think that that's the number one reason you're getting some criticism. Hey, it's all about winning, and you can bet teasers, and there's a reason why the sports books used to allow you to bet these teasers -110, then it was -115. Now most places charge -$1.20. The reason is that they know the players can beat them on those teasers.
So here's what I would tell you. The Bears +8.5, that obviously cashed. Ravens -1.5, that got close at the end, but I still got 2 units there. Here's what I would say, though. Like, I've probably only ever done like 10 teasers total, and like maybe 5 of them this year, 6 of them this year, 3 last week, because that's the way the board looked to me. I think I only have 1 this week, but, you know, we've been up a lot on this show over the years. I'm still up double-digit units for the season. I think it's crazy to like complain about that when I'm winning money for you guys. I got to go by what I see as the best option to win money. And by the way, I was 0 for 3 on my line bets and 0 for 1 on my total bet. The teasers are what saved me for the week. It could have been a really bad week. Speaking of that, Bengals Colts, I had the under. Wow, that got slaughtered. Wasn't expecting that at all. It was 47, and the final score was 31-27. I was way off on that one. Broncos, Patriots, neither one of us had anything there. Nothing on Jets, Dolphins. Looks silly in hindsight not to lay the 8 points with the Dolphins. Packers, Bucks was another teaser leg for me. So I did a teaser. You and I actually did teaser, Steve, on both the Colts, teased down to -2, and the Dolphins teased down to -2. That was another 2 units that we got. That was the one best bet we won right there, was teasing down the Colts and the Dolphins to -2 each. So that came through for us. Then the Bucks, I teased them up to +7.5. that teaser leg worked, but the other leg was the Cowboys plus 8.5, who were absolutely horrendous last night. I put a unit on the Rams laying 3.5. Boy, I was way off on the Browns, way off on the Rams, way off on the total. Niners came to play. You lean Niners. That was a good lean, Steve. So anyway, so for the week, I was down 3. You were down 4. I am up 11 for the year. You are down 7. And we are getting right into week number 7 in the NFL, Bri.
All right, guys. Well, let's start with the Thursday night game. And Ross, you can lead it off. The Giants at the Eagles. Eagles laying 4 points with a total of 43.
So this is going to be a 3-game week for me, Steve. I did Bills Chiefs last night. I'm doing Giants Eagles Thursday night for Westwood 1. Mercer at Army on Saturday. Looking forward to it. I got 2 plays here, actually. 43 seems pretty low. I know the Eagles just lost Miles Sanders and Zach Ertz, but those guys weren't really the biggest reason why the Eagles have scored the points the last couple weeks. It's been Carson Wentz and Travis Fulgham. Seems like on these short weeks, Doug Peterson finds a way to score points. Eagles defense has not been great. Neither is the Giants offense, but I'm putting 2 units on the over 43. I think the Eagles will find a way to score 20-some points, and the Giants, I think, will as well. I think the Giants keep the game close. I mean, the Eagles have 2 starters left on offense. 2. Maybe that's why the total is only 43 points. I'll go 1 unit, the Giants getting the 4 points, and I'm going to take the over 43 for 2 units.
All right, I'm going to pass the game, but this is very rare on player personnel stuff that I ever disagree with you. But I got to disagree with you with Miles Sanders not being a big deal. Dude goes for 75 yards for touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. What is it? What does Miles Sanders have to do for you, Ross, to get your love? I know he fumbled and his teammate recovered it, but you take away those 2 runs, and the Eagles have nothing on rushing versus really good stats. I'm going to pass the game.
I think that's fair, Steve. I would just say that was like the only thing he did in both games. Now, it's great, 75-yard long run, but he hasn't been a consistent part of it is what I'm saying. We'll see. We'll see what they get out of these other guys.
Moving on to Sunday, Steve, why don't you start it off? The Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Browns are laying 3 points with a total of 51.5.
All right, I'll lean to the Bengals. The reason I'm not going to make the Bengals a play, I want to bet against Baker. Cleveland's a really good team without a quarterback right now. But the problem I have is that Cincinnati got a miracle cover when these teams played the first time, where the Bengals got 4 yards per play, but Burrow converted 5 for 5 on 4th downs. That's not sustainable. So because of that, I'm not getting quite enough value on the point spread. I'll pass.
I really don't have a good feel for this game. I think the Browns will bounce back from getting embarrassed by the Steelers. I don't have a great feel, though, for the Browns, Baker Mayfield's health. And then, the Bengals, they're Jekyll and Hyde. 1 week the offense plays well, 1 week it doesn't. 1 week the defense plays well, the next week it doesn't. The Bengals are a way too inconsistent team for me to wager on right now.
Next game, Ross, it's Dallas and Washington, and there is no line on DraftKings, so we will move on to Detroit at Atlanta, where the Atlanta Falcons are laying 2.5 points, 56.5 total.
So I'll go first on this one, Steve. I'm gonna lay. I'm gonna put 1 unit on the Detroit Lions, getting the 2.5 points. It seems like the Lions win and cover every time, except for when I put a unit on them. It's uncanny. I think the Falcons played really well. I don't know, though, if that's going to carry over and that they continue to get sort of the interim coach boost. So I'll put 1 unit on the Lions getting the 2.5. Wouldn't be surprised if they win the game outright. I'll get the 2.5, 1 unit.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tease the Lions up to the plus 8.5. I'll tease them to the Chargers and take the Chargers down for 2 units. And because I like the Lions and I like your handicap, Ross, we're going to make this a best bet. I'll put a unit on the Lions plus 2.5 as well, best bet.
The best bet.
Next game, Steve, it's the Carolina Panthers at the New Orleans Saints. Total is 51, and the spread of this one, Saints favored by 7.5.
All right, it's a good spot for New Orleans here off their bye, and winning teams off of a bye as big favorites tend to be really good bets. I don't care. Carolina has all the value here in that if I just look at power ratings and the like, I make this game 5.5. And I think Carolina is a team that we can play every week. Their numbers are really good. Teddy Bridgewater's really clicking with Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. So Carolina's offense, much better than expected. Carolina's coaching staff, much better than expected. Tough game against the Bears. Teddy threw a virtual pick six to start the game, and Carolina was chasing that touchdown all game, and they never caught up. Carolina plus 7.5, 2 units.
Steve, you're reading my mind. I still think the Panthers are undervalued. I don't understand the line. I think it'll be a very competitive game. Saints have not shown to be a dominant team or pull away from anyone this year. I know they're getting Michael Thomas back, but Carolina's a feisty bunch. 7.5. I love getting that many points. 2 units for me as well. That's the best bet.
The best bet.
Ross, nothing yet on the Buffalo Bills New York Jets game. So moving on to Green Bay at Houston, where the Green Bay Packers laying 3.5 points, total 56.5.
And Steve, is that just nothing yet as we're doing this, recording this Tuesday at noon, just because these teams played last night? They need to gather all the numbers from last night before they put a line out?
Yeah, great question. So different books have different attitudes about the Monday Night Football games. Some go ahead early Monday morning, put up lines. Others trickle in around noontime Pacific time. So not unusual not to have lines up yet on those games at some books.
Got it. Okay. I don't have anything on Packers Houston. I think I would lean Packers to bounce back, but the David Bakhtiari injury is significant. I haven't heard clarity on that yet at left tackle, so I will pass this game. Plus, the Texans are playing much better under Romeo Crennel.
Yeah, I'll lean to Houston. I can make the case Houston is the best 1-5 team that I have ever seen. Think about this. When you have a top 10 quarterback, which Watson certainly is, does a team ever wind up worse than 7-9, especially as long as Cooks and Fuller are both fully healthy, and they are. They've been targeted 20 times the last 2 games. This is a really good Houston offense with those guys healthy. One more note on Romeo Crennel. Stop it with the criticism of him going for 2. Look, either he goes for 2 or he lets Tennessee go for 2. Which would you rather happen? Well, in a game where there's 80 points scored, I'd rather be the team going for 2 than letting my opponent go for 2. I thought it was the right move.
It was, sorry, Brian.
That's right.
It's absolutely the right move, Steve. Absolutely. Because all they did was tie it. No, it's not like they went ahead. They tied it and went to overtime. If he gets the 2-point conversion with Deshaun Watson, game's over. I can't believe he's getting any criticism for that at all.
All right, next game, Steve. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Tennessee Titans. Steelers laying 2 points, total 51.5.
Yeah, so Pittsburgh historically much worse on the road. Tennessee Titans, a complete fraud. Somehow this team is unbeaten, but this point spread says Pittsburgh is the much better team. I pass.
So let's get to I'm with you on this one, Steve. I'm passing this one. I think it's going to be an awesome football game, but I don't have a great feel for a betting line here. I'm just looking forward to watching it. It's a pass for me.
Ross, we're going to skip Seattle, Arizona, and move on to San Francisco at New England, where the Patriots favored by 2 with a total of 45.5.
Yeah, so I am going to tease the Niners up to 8.5. So the Niners right now are getting 2.5. I don't know if they'll win the game, but I don't picture the Patriots as currently constructed being able to blow them out. So I'll tease the Niners up to 8.5, and I'm pairing that with the Chargers down to -1.5 like Steve did earlier. So 2 units there. Niners plus 8.5. Chargers -1.5. 2 units. My lone 2-team teaser of the week.
And I like that teaser so much, and I like the Chargers so much. Well, I hate Jacksonville, actually. I'm with you. That's a best bet.
The best bet.
This podcast is going to be really quick today because we're going to skip another one. Kansas City at Denver, and then move on to Jacksonville at the Los Angeles Chargers. Anything else you want to add on this game? I know that was part of your teaser. Jacksonville getting 7.5 points, total 49.5.
Yeah, just for clarity, Steve, Niners Patriots. Did you have something on that one?
I'm with you on the teaser, and I really don't have much except for, the Patriots O-line got decimated last game, and they couldn't protect Cam at all. So I'm going to be checking the injury report on their O-line. If it doesn't improve, the Patriots are a team I'm looking to bet against every week.
And I thought you teased the Chargers with somebody else earlier. I can't remember.
I did. I'm doubling down with not one but 2 teasers on the Chargers this week. It's not against the rules. I can do it.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. All right. Yeah, I don't have anything else, Brian, on the Chargers, Jags. I'm not laying to 7.5, but they're a great teaser leg, which is why they are a 2-unit teaser leg. By the way, Brian, why nothing on Seattle, Arizona? I'm seeing a line for that one.
If you're seeing something great, I am not. Let me refresh my screen here.
You know what? Some of these lines are just popping up while we're sitting here. Seattle, Arizona. Seattle is laying 3.5 to Arizona. They're literally just coming up on the board while we're talking. So do you have anything, Steve? Seattle laying 3.5 to Arizona?
Yes, I like Arizona in this game. You know what? It's only a 1-unit bet, and the reason being Arizona just played 3 straight road games, long road trips. Then and the third one, they get an upset win at Dallas. So I'm concerned historically teams playing 3 games on the road and then they play at home are like 46.5% against the spread. So not a good spot to come home after a long road trip like that. However, I'm very impressed with Arizona and what they're doing. And Seattle is a fugazi. They keep winning close games. They're not that good of a team. Arizona 1 unit.
I'm with you. I was very impressed by Arizona's defense. Byron Murphy, Budda Baker, even without Chandler Jones. Now, certainly the Cowboys are a mess, but I like Arizona at home getting 3.5 points. Only 1 unit because you mentioned the road, you mentioned Monday night, and Seahawks coming off a bye. So 1 unit on Arizona getting the 3.5 points.
And that is the best bet?
Yes.
The best bet.
All right, so screen is refreshed. Let's move back a little bit if you guys want to. Buffalo and the Jets is now up. I've got 12.5 as the Bills are laying that in New York. Well, they're both technically, in New Jersey, I should say. 46 the total.
I have nothing on – I'm sorry, Ross?
No, go ahead. I was going to say the same thing. I mean, I'm not taking the Jets ever, but I'm also not laying 12.5 points the way Josh Allen's playing right now. So I got to just pass the game.
I agree.
All right. So let's see what else do we have here. Tampa Bay at Las Vegas Sunday night. Still not showing anything. So
nope, that is for me, Bri. It's the Raiders. The Bucks are laying 2.5.
And I'm waiting for a 3 on this game. I'm going to pass on 2.5, but I do think that the Bucks are overrated. The reason is I thought that was a great spot against Green Bay for the Bucks. Green Bay, LaFleur after the game said, we had a crap week in practice. We weren't prepared. We were fat, drunk, and happy at 4-0, and we practiced like crap. We played like crap. So Tampa Bay took advantage of it, and clearly perfect game for Tampa Bay. No penalties. They were ready to go in their biggest game of the year. I could easily see them flipping around, coming out to Las Vegas, and having their stinker. So I'm waiting on Vegas. It's a lean at 2.5. When it hits 3, which I expect, that's when I'll buy it.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way, Steve. I think Tampa's a really good team. I think they have as good a chance to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC as anybody. I'll lay the 2.5. Defense playing well. They're running the ball well. Brady's playing well. I'll lay the 2.5 points, 2 units, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ross, Monday Night Football, the Chicago Bears at the Los Angeles Rams. The Chicago Bears are favored in this one. 5.5 points. No, I'm sorry. They are getting 5.5 points with a total of 45.5.
Right. I think the line started out like the Bears were getting 7.5 or something crazy, Steve. Did you see that?
That's what the line was last week on the look-ahead line, and then the Rams obviously got rolled by the Niners, and there's been a 2-point adjustment, yes.
I mean, the Bears' defense is really good. I'll put 1 unit on the Bears, getting the 5.5 points. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the game. I think it's a close game. In fact, you know what? No, I'll just stay with 1 unit. I feel like the Rams might have a bounce-back game. I'll stay with 1 unit on the Bears getting the 5.5.
So a rare disagreement here. I think the Bears are going to get their butts kicked here. I think the Bears are a completely fraudulent 4-1. I think their win against Tampa Bay was beyond fortunate. It was 13-0 Tampa Bay, and somehow the Bears got a touchdown pass to Graham that shouldn't even have gotten through, and then they got turnover. Long story short, lucky win and then a fortunate win against Carolina. And here's a Rams team. I think they're a really fine team. I think they were in a terrible spot at the Niners. They'd gone to the East Coast not once, not twice, but 3 times. It was their 4th road game in 5 games. Now they got 8 days to rest up. Rams win by 17. They crush the Bears. 2 units, Rams.
Wow. I'm seeing Dallas, Washington now, Bri. Washington is getting 1.5. I mean, who the heck knows with these 2 teams? At this point, this is just a stay away for me, Steve. I don't even really have a lean. I would expect the Cowboys would bounce back after that embarrassment last night, but you never know.
Yeah, I'll lean to Washington. If you want to play some bonus teasers, these are lean teasers to take the Washington football team 1.5 up to the 7.5. But like you mentioned, Russ, there's a lot of uncertainty about Dallas, and that was just an absolute pathetic performance. So officially a pass.
Awesome. All right, so there's a lot of bets there. As a reminder, Steve, we've been telling people on the other shows like the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, if you become a patron of the RT Media Podcast Network, the Ross Tucker Podcast Network, patreon.com/RT Media. That's patreon.com/RT Media. We actually, on our private Slack channel, you got to be a Tuckheads member. It's $10 a month, but we post every bet. Every bet gets posted. So you can see what I bet each week and go ahead. I know a lot of you write it down as you listen, you like that, but go to patreon.com/RT Media, become a Tuckheads member. You'll be part of our private Slack channel community. I think you'll really love it. It's a bunch of awesome people, but it's probably worth the $10, not have to write them down each week. $10 a month, patreon.com/RT Media. Other than that, good luck, everybody. Hope you win some money.
Thanks for listening to the Even Money Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, the Fantasy Feast, Business of Sports, and the College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.